When starting this speech writing process, I started with what senior speeches I had remembered. After watching hundreds of them during high school, I decided the most impactful speeches were the ones with honesty and truth that told individual experiences without pushing a lesson. So I'm going to share my story. As a virtual student, I've often been asked by well-meaning teachers and peers when I'm going to come back to in-person learning. But to be honest, I don't know. Initially, I was online for a serious fear of contracting COVID-19. However, as the year progressed, I began to see that my panic attacks had nearly vanished by being online. With this lessening anxiety came higher grades from being able to work with my time more freely, as I was now able to work throughout lunch and in between classes. On the occasions when I had to pick something up from school, the immediate feeling of dread would reappear. My body would begin profusely sweating, my mind clouding, and my hands shaking. School was no longer the environment that I had once loved and the place that I had looked forward to going every day. I remember listening to Petrakusha's speeches in 11th grade and feeling faint from this perceived pressure that I felt I needed to live up to this precedent that all these students had set. I felt heard when a speech was given about productive procrastination, but later confused when I would begin crying as I stared at the blank page of a paper I had yet to write. We only talk about our successes, so when we don't achieve a grade or what we may perceive as a success, or rather what we believe others think our success should look like, we feel empty. For some of us, like me, we feel paralyzed when we try to begin a task because we only have one idea of success in our minds. Even when I was writing this speech, I turned it in late because I felt like I had to give everyone such a memorable speech. In reality, or as I told myself, the most important thing is to try the best you can, given the time you have and the concurrent events in your life. However, this simply get it done mentality is something that I still certainly struggle with. Due dates are lapsed for fear of starting an imperfect assignment. Even worse was when I was in school, when during 10th grade geometry, I was absent nearly every time we had a test, as I physically couldn't get out of bed, as I would shake from a memory of failing and afraid that it would happen again. Eventually, these shaking and heart palpitation episodes turned into hours of sobbing where my jaw would lock from side to side as I was unable to speak. People always say not to peak in middle or high school, but for years, I felt that 8th grade was when I was at my happiest. After receiving an award in 8th grade for grades I had earned by simply loving learning every single day, I felt burnt out and defeated as people began to push aside the love of learning and creating a persona for college applications. Over my course of 4 years of high school, I've also certainly changed, and I will continue to change as I learn and grow throughout life, simply wanting to make the best contribution to society that I can. Although sometimes I'd like to return to 8th grade when I was at the peak of my confidence, I know that I can't. I like to believe instead that I'm a better, more well-rounded person today who does not value personal awards for their self-value. Now, I'm always hesitant when I receive compliments, as I don't know how to react after being implicitly and explicitly told by members of the USM community that I could never survive in the real world. As we wrap up our final year of USM, I will look forward to crossing the stage and moving on to the next chapter. I know that without USM, I wouldn't be the person I am today with such perseverance. I'm so grateful to all the people who've said hello or sent a simple text, even though I haven't always been the best at responding. Though to some it may come as a surprise that I am an anxious person, I can assure you that every single person around you has something of some sort that they are dealing with, even if it's not externally visible. We all put up some sort of facade, whether we know it or not. We hide our anxieties not only for others, but to make ourselves feel okay. The school also puts up a facade, wanting to maintain their brand of in-person learning. However, there is a crisis of mental health at this school. In order to overcome it, we must talk about it. So please reach out to your friends and those you care about to say a simple hello and check on them. You never know what someone is going through and why they actually were absent that day. Check in on others and not only your friends, because a simple happy birthday text after hearing it's their birthday at lunch or a wave in the hallway can change someone's whole day, even if not their total outlook on life and humanity. Thank you.
I'm Reed, and I'm introducing my dear friend Lil Zay. We've been homies since 6th grade with the KD6s on. I'm gonna miss late night talks with Adam about getting that bag and just rolling with the gang in general. The Ozzy to my Dansby, the Lil Zay to my BDR. Now introducing Isaiah Carrington.
The place that I call home, but is 812 miles away, is my cousin's home in Mableton, Georgia. I used to visit there once a year over the summer for about a month each time. Some of my earliest memories are with my cousins in their home in Georgia. Let me share with you one of my favorites. This story starts off with my cousin and I going to a sports camp that we attended every day with some of his friends in school. We had camp until around 3 p.m. every day, and after camp, my cousin Peyton's mom would pick us up from camp. After camp, Peyton and I would usually go home and play 2K or Madden until it was time for dinner. But this day, I was particularly tired, so I decided to take a nap. This is where things started going wrong. My cousin Peyton wakes me up from my nap around 8 p.m. crying and telling me that there was a pizza man outside with a gun. My immediate reaction was to start laughing. I still don't understand why, but that's what it was. I soon realized this was serious and got out of bed and went to Peyton's mom's, Deborah's room, and listened to her calling the police. When she gets off the phone, she explains to me that she watched the pizza man grab a gun from his car and walk towards the front door. She then proceeded to run upstairs to tell Peyton's dad, Lonnie, and call the cops. The guy then proceeded to drive away with the pizza. This was extremely scary for all of us, but it showed us how to handle these situations correctly. This is one of my many stories that I have from traveling to Atlanta every summer to visit my cousins. This past summer, I unfortunately wasn't able to visit my cousins at all because of the strict rules and guidelines due to COVID-19. This means that I missed my last summer visiting my family in Georgia because this summer will be used to cherish the last few months with my immediate family and friends. So I learned that you have to cherish the times that you have with the people you love most because you never know when it can all come to an end. But on a less serious note, I've had a wonderful experience at USM these past 12 years, and it's crazy to think that my time here is almost up. I'm going to miss it a lot. At the same time, I'm also extremely excited about college next year. Before I end my speech, I would like to thank my mom and grandma for sacrificing so much for me throughout these past 12 years at USM. Thanks to my advisor, Mrs. Morris, and all of my other teachers for helping me grow as a person and a student here at USM. Thank you.
My brother Kenyon has always been there for me. Although he is my brother, I would probably consider him to be my first best friend. Whenever I needed help with work, even if we joked around, we were still able to get it done. I will miss the time we shared together, but I know he will do great in college and make more memories. Introducing my big brother, Kenyon Kirksey.
Heading into USM my freshman year and planning to play contact football for the first time, I had no idea what to expect whatsoever. Prior to my admission, I never lifted a single weight or had any experience in the weight room. I played flag football in my previous school, but that was light work compared to what I was about to get into. I knew that this new experience would not be easy in the slightest bit. The summer of 2017 is when I began my weightlifting journey. I remember walking into the Aux gym for the first time and being greeted by Coach Forty. He gave me the rundown about what to expect and how important commitment and consistency was to the program. Now it was time to get to work. During warm-ups, I remember getting gassed after 2 sprints to the wall and back. I felt a bit embarrassed at the moment, but now as I'm looking back on it, I knew I gave my wholehearted effort and that was all that mattered. For the remainder of the summer, I continued my routine of weightlifting, and then August arrived, which meant that the official football season has begun. I started off on JV like most freshmen and had a fairly good first season. Although I didn't make every single play, I gave it my all on whichever field I played on. This wouldn't have been possible without the support of my teammates that I was surrounded by. I'm sure you heard this before, but the football team isn't just a team. It's a family, and it's true. On and off the field, we all have each other's backs and just have fun as most families would. There's just nothing like it. I'm truly grateful and blessed to have had to be a part of such a motivated and driven team. As my freshman year season continued, I remember being on the sideline, watching the likes of Matt Lapine and Big Smoothie grace the field and make plays under the Friday night lights. I looked up to them and wanted to be just as good as them someday. I made a promise to myself that I would be playing under Friday night lights, just like them, but the road to getting there was quite uncertain and shaky. In the summer of 2018, specifically the day after contact days were through, I decided that I wanted to quit football. During this time, my confidence was basically non-existent. I kept envisioning myself making mistakes during games and letting the pressure get to me. Football isn't just a physical sport, it's a mental one too, and mentally I just wasn't there. I emailed Coach Summers letting him know my intentions to quit. I remember being so afraid of pressing that send button, but I did anyway. Coach Summers responded back, and he didn't want me to take the easy way out. He saw my true potential and wanted me to reconsider. A couple of days later, I get an email from Mr. Peters explaining to me that I wouldn't want to regret giving up this experience and that we are all as one. Following reading these emails, I thought about my team. I felt like I betrayed them, and to be quite honest, I felt like I gave up on them, and that didn't sit well with me at all. That's when I realized that I'm not in this alone and that it's perfectly okay to make mistakes. That's the whole reason why we practice, to simply get better and to learn from those mistakes. A little while later, I sent Coach Summers an email reply stating that I want to be back on the team, that I want to be back with my family. He welcomed me back with open arms, and I got right back to business. I finished off the rest of the season on the JV team and got back into the swing of things quite quickly. After the season was finished, I still felt guilty about me quitting and still felt angry about the whole situation. I used that anger in the weight room with my dad all off-season long and made sure to get my body right for the junior year season. I never missed a single day of summer lifts, and I finally gained that confidence that I was searching for. Junior year, my Friday night lights dreams came true, and I played at linebacker. All that hard work finally paid off, and it really showed. So I'm going to leave you all with this. If a window of opportunity appears, don't pull down the shade. I want to thank my parents, all the football coaching staff, and all my teammates I've had throughout the years for giving me the best years of my life thus far. I'll always and forever be grateful for you all. Thank you.
I remember when I first met Carlos in the Ready, Set, Go program before 8th grade. My first impression was, wow, this kid is weird. But over time, I realized that it was my kind of weird. Carlos quickly went from just some kid in my grade to my best friend. There's too many memories to put in just one intro, but I'll never forget how in China everyone was amazed by how tall we were. Or watching you slowly become faster than me in cross country. There's absolutely no one I'd rather be pushed into a car by Chinese police with, and no one I'd rather have subsequently fall asleep 2 seconds later in the seat next to me. I don't know what I'll do next year when I don't have anyone to warn me about wearing sandals to a Steve Aoki concert, but I envy those around you wherever you go because I know they're getting the most genuine person I've ever met. I hope you'll put up with me visiting you wherever you go. Introducing the 6'5" to my 6'6", Carlos Banda.
As a senior, I've had plenty of time to look back and reflect on my time at USM. After 5 years, I've been able to grow and mature alongside my classmates. For those of you in my grade who remember how I was when I first came to USM in 8th grade, you will probably notice that the person I was back then is wildly different from the person I am today. Looking back, my progression throughout high school has been defined by slow and gradual change. However, in the past year, we've all come to understand that things can change instantly and without warning. I've come to realize that change is ever present and ultimately it's inevitable. This is just a fact of life, but it's really not as scary as it might seem. For example, in this past year, recovering from COVID has not been an easy task. Masks and social distancing are both part of the new normal that we have come to accept. While this year was not what I imagined, I was able to take advantage of the opportunities I still had and truly appreciate this year. The senior sunrise in September, my last cross-country races, attending the Student Diversity Leadership Conference, deep conversations in Chinese, doing the polar bear plunge with my friends, watching Legally Blonde, playing chess games in the library, and weekend bonfires. These are just some of the many meaningful memories I was able to make this year. As graduation approaches, life will continue to change once again. I will graduate with the class of 2021 as we go off to college, and a new senior class will rise up. Time will always keep moving, and life will continue to go on. As a young adult thinking about college and beyond, my future is uncertain, just as it is for everyone, and it is normal to be nervous or afraid. However, while it is easy to settle into being comfortable, I've come to realize that change is not a bad thing. I have been able to learn that with the correct mindset, change can be synonymous with growth and progress. The best advice I can offer is this: each day brings limitless possibilities, and with that comes opportunity. So while the future is uncertain, you can begin to shape it right now. Change will come, but what it looks like is up to you.
How do I introduce somebody that everybody already knows and loves? Perhaps as a star hockey player, the only person wearing a pink mask with hearts around school, or of course, as my brother. On the ice, Garrett is somebody that consistently shares credit during victories and shoulders the blame during losses. He sees the greater good that is larger than any one person but present inside of each of us. At school, Garrett is diligent and encouraging. Never failing to brighten someone's day, most commonly mine, he goes above and beyond to make the people around him feel special and appreciated. And at home, Garrett is the best younger older brother that anyone could ask for. Whether he is starting motorcycles, cracking jokes, or crushing at a game of Connect 4, he is truly extraordinary and somebody that I am so grateful to have as part of my life. So I guess the only question now is, how do I say goodbye? Garrett, you have always demonstrated to me what true character and integrity mean, and for that, I'm clueless as to the life I will live next year without you. Thank you for everything you do for me. I love you so much, and I am so proud of you. Now introducing Garrett Nolan Cox.
Today, I'd like to talk about a few of my favorite things and lessons I have taken away from my last years of high school. First, one of the things that I love most in life is hockey. I've played hockey ever since I was 5 years old. The most influential part of my USM experience has been playing for the Wildcats. I'll never forget the sense of community on our team and the memories we share in the locker room and on the bus. My teammates are always there in good times to celebrate our successes and in bad times to lift and support each other. Our team is truly the most hardworking, motivated, and passionate group of people I've ever been a part of. I hope that we will be forever connected by the bonds of our team. This brings me to my first lesson, which is live in the moment and create memories that will last forever with the people you love, because all great things eventually come to an end. Outside of school, I also love riding and repairing motorcycles, ranging from dirt bikes to ATVs to snowmobiles and on. Riding motorcycles gives me an unexplainable sense of freedom and is also something I've enjoyed ever since I was a little kid. I feel so excited riding at high speeds and learning new tricks, which makes all the challenges in my life seem to melt away. This brings me to the next lesson. Hold on to the things you love in life, even if they seem silly or worthless to others. If you do not make time to do what you love, your life will just pass on one day after another. Every day, I feel super lucky to attend USM and contribute to a community of people that I admire. The memories I have made these last couple of years will last forever and have undoubtedly shaped me to the person I am today. I can't wait to see my 3 little siblings experience the same sense of community and connectedness I had. I want to finish off by saying thank you to my mom, who has given me the opportunity to attend the university school, and for all the sacrifices she made for my 5 siblings and I. Also, thank you to my 5 siblings for making sure the last 18 years of my life never had a dull moment and making every day unforgettable. And finally, thank you to all my teachers, classmates, coaches, and teammates for making my experience at USM one I will cherish forever.
When I was growing up, I found books extremely abhorrent. I loathed reading. So of course, going to the library every month as a 3rd grader to pick out yet another book to do yet another tedious book report on was a dreadful experience for me. Maybe it was because of the endless stream of assignments tied to my school reading, or maybe it was making all of those scenes come to life in shoeboxes. I'll never know for sure, but what I did know at the time was that reading wasn't for me. And for the longest time, that's what I believed. That's what I let myself believe because I didn't know any better. Over the summer before 6th grade, I moved to St. Louis, Missouri, where I was required to read a certain number of pages per semester from whatever book I chose. In the beginning, I was completely overwhelmed. In my wildest dreams, I never thought I could make that quota. Books were just too boring. There was no way I could get myself to read that much. But this new assignment led me to have a very different, less melancholy relationship with my library. I would walk to the library with my friends and roam through the maze of towering bookcases, reading the synopses of books and trying to find what I would like. Eventually, I did find something, and it just happened to be The Maze Runner. After that, I read book after book after book, and granted, it was nothing too remarkable. It was definitely more than I expected from myself, and more than my quota, so that's good. Over the summer, over 8th grade, I was introduced to more books from different genres, and I found that I quite liked reading. Shocking, I know. Then came freshman year, ripped from my high school future that I was familiar with and thrust into a brand new private university school. Nothing was going to plan for me. The only thing that was consistent was my reading. As a new kid and a freshman, I had plenty of time to further my hobby, especially with Miss Gay's allotted green space time, or at least that's what I remember it being called. I might be wrong. I think I read around 400 books that year, and in the years since, while I haven't read nearly as many books, I would still count myself to be quite the book nerd. Considering Tess and I got voted biggest bookworm, I'd say the rest of my class thinks so as well. Reading has been a source of great passion for me, and it still is. It's not one of the most quirky hobbies out there. I'm sure there are stranger things that people are into, but it fits me. Over the years, I've gleaned a priceless amount of knowledge, and you know that thing people used to tell you about how reading will help you prepare for the ACT? It's very true. You should do that. So, anyways, as my piece of senior wisdom, I'd like to tell you to try new things, as cliche as it is. Explore different interests and find your own addictive hobby. Do wacky things like dyeing your hair in the middle of a pandemic and adopting a dog only a few months before you go to college. Do things that you love. I don't think I would be the same person I am today without my strange little addiction. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and try things that you never thought you would like.